Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast. I'm your host, Anish Gupta.
And I'm Srikar.
We're back, both of us. Finally, NFL season is here. We are recording this on Friday, September 9th, which means the Bills and Rams game has been completed. A bit of a shocking one, to be fair, but Shrik, what'd you do for the game? Did you just chill and watch? What'd you do?
I was chilling in this exact spot. I actually have these nice comfy chairs in the back behind me, so I was sitting in those. It's like one of those like net chairs. You gotta like look it up, but it's cool. Yeah, it's just the classic college dorm viewing experience. It was just we had these LEDs on. It was chill. Got some pizza. It was fire.
Yeah, you're on that East Coast time now. I had some time afterward, but I was just so gassed after it.
Yeah.
I was just so pumped to have it back. I mean, God, I missed it so much. And like, even though our teams didn't play, any NFL football is really, really a good start or end to a day. So love it. Kind of back onto it. And with that, we're gonna kind of give you guys a recap of the Bills-Rams game, give you guys some fantasy starts and sits before our favorite segment of the week. We always do it. It's our weekly pick 'em. We always have a little competition going on.
Every game.
And you guys can obviously get in on that action via our Instagram story vote. I know our fans love it. We love it. We love you guys kind of coming in. I think you guys came in second last year to Srikar, our reigning champion. I have one championship belt under me. The one who has not won one is Jamiki Smith, who will join us in a couple episodes, but he will still be picking. But yeah, I'm already down. I'm on an 0-1 start. Everyone else is 1-0 because obviously I had to take my boy Sean McVay. But it is what it is. So before we get into it, this video and other videos will be brought to you by our sponsor, Manscaped. Now, with the NFL season right around the corner, a lot of teams are getting ready to roll out their 53-man rosters. But one thing that these players do have to worry about is roster cuts. Getting cut is the absolute worst, whether it is in your bathroom on a Saturday morning or an NFL training camp, and our sponsor is here to help. Today's video is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. We were some of the first people to try the new 4.0, and we were blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and details on the 4.0 are next level. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. The trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. With the advanced technology and ceramic blade, you can feel safe and confident shaving your pigskins, and you don't have to worry about deflations. And the new wireless charging system uses electric-magnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Manscaped also has amazing products like their Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, and some super comfy clothing. They've got a t-shirt and some good boxers. So Manscaped is already the official below-the-waist grooming partner of the San Francisco 49ers, a.k.a. Srikar's favorite team, and we are super excited to partner with them and bring you guys these products. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, and with this exclusive offer from us, code CHT20, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping, so go use that code, fellas. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped, and now go grab yourself that Lawnmower 4.0.
Y'all see this beard?
How'd I do? Think I did okay?
I mean, you see the beard. It speaks for itself. Like that's Manscaped right there, you know.
Yeah, and you can also use it down there too.
I know, but I didn't want to go into too much details. Yeah, I gotta say that's the mystery of it.
Well, speaking of details, we're gonna give you guys a detailed recap of the Bills' 31-10 rout over the LA Rams. I'll let Srikar start it off because I've got a lot of things to say about this team, considering that I really like a lot of players on there. But go ahead, take it away.
So I don't think this game is that difficult to break down. I'll say this first. This game told me a lot more about the Rams than it did about the Bills. Like, I'm not going to touch on the Bills here. The Bills came out and played how I expected them to play. So not much for me to say on that end. Now the Rams, they looked absolutely awful.
Oh,
okay, I'll start with the game plan from Sean McVay. This is something that, me and Anish might disagree on, but this is something I noticed in the Super Bowl as well. But Sean McVay, he just decides to call inside runs every single first down. And it's something that I think makes absolutely no sense. You could see on my Twitter, I was live tweeting the game. I was just so confused. You have Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson going up against Kyrie Elam, Taron Johnson. They were starting a 6th-round rookie, Christian Benford. They didn't have Tre'Davious White. So what I would do, you just spread your guys out on first down. You stay ahead of the sticks. Because when you can just hit quick throws at least and get into like a 2nd and 6, a 2nd and 4, you have space to work with. But no, Sean McVay is just like, hey, let's just decide to we're just going to run right up the gut with Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers and get nothing. And the Bills picked up on this too. They're just like, hey, we know what's coming on 1st and 2nd down. So, they didn't even blitz. They just went with their front 4 and just pin our ears back on 2nd down because it's always going to be run first down, pass 2nd down. So you can just tee off on Stafford on 2nd down. And they were always getting it to 2nd and long. So it was fairly obvious at that point. And again, they didn't blitz in that game. And the Bills D-line isn't, amazing. It's not like world beaters, but like it's a good D-line. But at the same time, like the play calling was too predictable. So I 100% think McVay deserves blame for his play calling in that regard. My second takeaway, the departures the Rams saw this offseason versus the additions they made. Just the contrast there. Von Miller, he made a big impact in this game. 2 sacks. Both of them were essentially drive killers, so they were huge sacks. I've said this offseason that Miller would be either the most or one of the most significant signings of free agency, and he showed it. The Rams are going to miss him. And then Andrew Whitworth retiring, that speaks for itself. You saw the Rams O-line. I mean, again, the Bills don't even have an amazing D-line, but they were just wreaking havoc. Guys were getting beat left and right. I think they totaled 7 sacks on the night, which is crazy. Now, the departures in contrast to the additions. This is my point. The Rams shelled out big money to Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson. Wagner, I'll put it this way. He looked like an aging linebacker, just slower than the past. And they have him for 5 years, so maybe it's too soon, but not good. And then with Robinson, again, it kind of circles back to McVay, but not really. He just did absolutely nothing in this game. Now, that could be a chemistry thing with Stafford that needs to develop, but he didn't look very good as well. Third and final takeaway is I'm not going to single out Ramsey. I'm just going to say the Rams could not cover. Simple as that. Ramsey himself, he allowed 124 yards and 2 touchdowns on 6 receptions. Guys were just left wide open in general. Look, I think the Rams will figure it out. It's obviously the first game of the season. I still have them as, a playoff team, double-digit wins. They looked horrible in nearly every facet last night, and I just can't ignore that. So, not much to say for the Bills, but the Rams, not the ideal ring night, huh?
How about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about them?
How worried am I? I'd say like 4, 5. Like I think they'll figure things out.
That's not as high as I thought you would say. No. Well, okay. I guess since you didn't really touch on the Bills, I will really quick.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, first of all, I kind of did a video on like our TikTok talking about, how their scheme and offensive outlook would look as well as their defense. And you kind of mentioned it already. Like the Bills run a 4-3 and like everybody that was on their rushing 4 played well. Jordan Phillips, Ed Oliver, AJ Epinesa, and Von Miller. All 4 of them had a really significant impact on this game, right? Now, another thing about the Bills. Ken Dorsey is their new play caller. I have not seen anybody talk about him since Brian Daboll left. Everybody's like, oh, Daboll's gone. He's moved on, right, to the Giants. Well, what about their new guy, right? Like, why was Daboll getting all this love and Ken Dorsey is just not? He called a terrific game. I think this is probably one of the best games I've ever seen called from a coordinator, like opening night. This was just 9 for 10 on third down. Like, when have you seen a team go 90% on third down?
I think the reason
night game, that's wild.
I think the reason no one was talking about Dorsey like that is because we all assumed that moving on from Daboll wouldn't really hurt the Bills. Like we thought that Ken Dorsey would feel fine.
But I think a lot of people should have recognized that, like, look, so Ken Dorsey, a little bit of backstory. He was the quarterback for the 01 Hurricanes. And he actually came in with Carolina and was there. He was the QB coach during Cam's, Super Cam years from 13 to 17. He was really instrumental in what they like to do and over there. He wasn't the play caller. I believe that was North Turner, but he was a very big part of it. Ken Dorsey called an amazing game, and I think this just really shows that the Bills are one of the elite powerhouses in the NFL, and I think they will be for a while. Joshua freaking Allen, man, like this is, I mean, it's just so crazy to see how far he's come. Like, you know, especially because he really was just starting out when we started out the pod too. And he's a guy I've always believed in, and a guy that, you know, I just don't even have to talk about anymore because he's just putting it out on the field now. So, you know, always been one of my favorite players. I think he played an amazing game. One of the turnovers was not his fault. I think
McKenzie.
Yeah, McKenzie just kind of, ball was kind of fought for. Yeah, there was a tip pass, and then even the one that Troy Hill picked off, like I thought it could have been fought for a little bit better.
I think that one's on Allen, because if he leads Crowder a little bit, I think it's
maybe I think it was a 50-50, but yeah, I think, you know, obviously you could have made it less of a 50-50 ball. Again, he started off basically 10 for 10, so he had a terrific game. I mean, that's really hard to do coming off, you know, into week one. Didn't really play in the preseason, so, you know, hats off to the Bills there. Now I'm gonna have to unpack the LA Rams. I'm like, okay, look, I mean, I think everybody knows on this, who's an avid watcher of this pod, knows how much I love Sean McVay, how much I love Cooper Kupp. And guess what? Neither of them are going to get the blame for this one. I'm not giving them any part of the blame. Who maybe fine. I agree with you. Some of the inside runs are a little bit stupid. Like I like,
yes, okay, very stupid.
Go out and empty and first down. Every once in a while, it's fine to go shotgun and empty. You don't have to go under center single back every time. I give you that. But one thing, first of all, Raheem Morris. Oh my! Like there were so defensive coordinator for the Rams, by the way. Yeah. Terrible. Like he called a terrible game. The play, so everyone's going to talk about how Jalen Ramsey allowed 6 for 7, 142. I think that was very flawed, just because, again, a lot of the defensive sets they were in was like, one, the Rams like to run zone anyway, but like seriously, who runs quarters coverage down 14? That's like something you would run if you're up 14, and like that's just asking for something deep, either over the middle. Usually a sideline should be covered, but the safety, I think it actually might have been Nick Scott, who actually played a decent game. That one thing was his flaw. You have to play all four back, and they didn't. That's why Jalen was kind of going back slow, because you're supposed to slowly play back with the safety going way farther out. Didn't happen. So Stefon Diggs was like, all right, freebie. And, you know, he ran a 9, and it was the easiest go route I think Josh Allen's ever thrown. So, you know, that really, I guess, is not going to tell the full story with the Rams. Obviously, everyone's going to be concerned fantasy-wise, Cam Akers and Allen Robinson. I just think, look, I think Stafford's elbow caused a lot of sails. I saw 5 that he really just sailed like on a pass. I think, man, like Cooper Kupp is just so good at football, and so many times I just saw him get, you know, overthrown, or the pass was too high, and I'm just like, come on, get it to him. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I had to unpack with the Rams. Just, you know, and the offensive line, obviously 7 sacks. I mean, look, I thought Joe Noteboom would be way better than this. Like, I mean, sure, I was concerned it's his first, you know, real game action, but come on, you can, like, I mean, he got chipped twice on the same play. Like, there was just so many things that I think were sloppy by this team. You know, things that they'll have time to fix in 10 days, because one of the best adjusters in football is Sean McVay. So I think they'll be fine in that regard. But yeah, one thing to say also about Von Miller, I think what people fail to realize is, like, players are, you know, they're humans too, right? And like, if you're on a team that's like not doing well, how motivated are you really to go all out there and like give it your all, right? And I feel like that's what people kind of saw with Von Miller final few years in Denver, especially in 19 and 20, right? Like, it just seemed like, you know, what's the motive, right? You're an aging player. Sure, you've got your money, but like, why? So then why keep going at it, right? You've got your max, right? Like why? He finally goes to the Rams, right? And he just turns it on another level because he's playing in meaningful games. I think that definitely plays a part in it, especially for a 32-year-old edge rusher. And now he's got a chance to be the first player to win a Super Bowl with 3 different teams. You don't think he's going to go all out for that? I think that's going to be, you know, something that you have to watch out for. I think he's fully healthy now too, you know, because he's played a lot. He played a lot of limited snaps throughout the last few years. Also, watch out for this. He could be the sack leader. Like, the Bills are going to play a lot of games where they're up, right? And what do teams do when they're down? Throw the ball, right? Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of times where he's going to be rushing the quarterback. watch out for Vaughn being a potential sack leader out there. Other than that, lots to unpack with this one game, but especially because Thursday night, right, everyone's watching the kickoff game. It's going to be harder to kind of do the tells for, all these other 30 teams on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with the Rams and Bills, we really got a big unpacking of the top two teams, supposedly, in the league in a lot of people's power rankings. So thought it was a good little recap there. Anything else you want to throw in out there?
No, I agree with you about Raheem Morris. I mean, the Rams were playing like 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, once they went down 2 scores, I kind of felt like
game was over.
Yeah.
I mean, Bills also, like, when you're in spread, it's a lot of quick passes. Like, it's just what happens. And yeah, you're right. I think this was kind of a bad game call. Look in the film, readdress this, play tired.
It's kind of scary. I don't know whether this is more of an indictment on the Rams or if it's the Bills or that guy. I mean, 4 turnovers and you score 31. Like, and those were like turnovers.
That's scary. That's
very scary. So
I mean, but also it was 7 total, right? So it was like
7.
Rams also had 3.
Mm-hmm.
But also, quick note: they got the ball out of Josh's hands in around 2.3 seconds, fastest in his career. I think that's also something you got to watch out for, because if you get this strong of a guy getting the ball out that quick.
Yes.
I think this is something that you're going to see also other quarterbacks like Mahomes. It's going to happen with guys with stronger Herbert, right? Watch out for time to throw. I think that's something people need to look out for. It's going to decrease more over time. Guys are just getting separation quicker in the league. So yeah, I think that's also another takeaway. But yeah, you want to kind of move on to our fantasy start sits. All right. So again, like we promised, every episode we do, there's going to be a fantasy segment. I guess, for week 1, I really it sucks because I've been on this fade Cam Akers and Allen Robinson train, and now no one's going to believe me because it's already happened. But I'm in 7 leagues, guys, and I didn't take them in any of them. Right. And I had chances after chances to do it. So just take my word for it when I said that. But yeah, I'll let Srikar kind of start off with his fantasy start of the week.
So my start, Trevor Lawrence against the Commanders. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to break out this year. Wow, what a hot take! And I think we're going to get the chance.
Wow,
to see
you've been on that. Okay, well, that's been my.
Well, everyone's on it. I mean, no, it's not even a hot take anymore. But you can see the writing on the wall. Doug Peterson is there. The Jaguars just functioning as a normal franchise should be enough for Trevor to succeed. This is a Commanders defense that was dead last in the NFL last season in passing touchdowns allowed. They were 29th against the pass overall. They still don't have Chase Young back from his injury. And yes, Washington still has a very talented defensive front, but that unit is relatively incomplete without Chase Young. So I think Lawrence, with a much better offensive system, much better play caller, better weapons, I think he's going to feast in week 1. I think that he's going to, show people a glimpse of what that breakout season could be.
Well, hey, I'm not complaining with that. Look, I'm torn with my starts. I think it's going to boil down, I know we're only supposed to give 1, but these are 3 that I just could not decide between. One is actually Brandon Ayuk versus Chicago. I think he's going to have a pretty good game. Look, I think the attention is obviously going to be on my boy Deeb. I think obviously everybody's going to be watching out for him. That leaves a lot of attention for Brandon Ayuk. I don't think Kittle's going to play anyway against the Bears, so he's going to be the second option anyway. This is a game that I see actually being relatively closer than people think, so I think Trey will have to throw a lot more than you expect. Also, Elijah Mitchell was kind of questionable, right, heading into the week, but I think he's going to play. I mean, he's going to
keep in mind it's raining.
Really?
So run game might be emphasized a little bit more.
Might be, but even then, right, still got to throw a little bit. I think Ayuk's probably due for maybe a big play, maybe a touchdown here and there. That's one I'm thinking about starting. Chase Edmonds against New England. I'm all in on Chase Edmonds. I like him a lot. He's going to be the focal point of that offense. He's getting most of the reps. He was technically the starter in Arizona before he got hurt and James Conner took over. But yeah, I'm all in on Chase Edmonds there. And then my final start, Rashad Penny versus Denver. Kenneth Walker still battling from that hernia surgery. I think Rashad Penny is going to be a full go. And look at his last 4 weeks. I know it was against lesser competition than Denver, but yeah, I think he's going to be a full go. And he's going to be a really solid piece on Monday. Those are my 3 starts. Yeah.
Out of those
Sorry,
three,
I couldn't.
I would have went Edmonds. I like Edmonds this week a lot.
Yeah, you know what? So yeah, I'll full go on Edmonds out of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to hit us with your sit because it relates to me. So
Goop being the Browns fan he is, I'm sitting Amari Cooper. The Browns are going to be heavy on the run game, so Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt should be getting a lot of carries. And with the Browns receiver depth, I mean, the Panthers are going to take away Cooper because I don't think they're really scared of anyone else. Like, I don't think they're really scared of DPJ. And it's also Jacoby Brissett, so take that as you will. And adding on to that, Cooper's just a boomer bust receiver in general, so I would sit Cooper in his first game as a Brown just because you don't know the nature of it. You don't know what he's going to do. It's too mysterious, so I'd go ahead and sit him.
Yeah, I'm all on the fade Cooper train. Jacoby can't throw outside the numbers to save his life, and it's also going to be raining in Charlotte most likely on Sunday. So what do the Browns like to do anyway? So if Stefanski could just call more run plays on first and second down like he did in 2020, I'd be very happy. But yeah, I'm all aboard with that with you. My sit, literally, I was torn on so many. I literally there was nothing that I really thought was boom, that's a sit I want to do. So I just said TJ Hawkinson against Philly. I think Philly's got some really good off-ball linebackers, and I think Hawk is going to actually struggle. He had a really good start to the year last year, a really, really good start for a tight end. I think he was tight end 1 through the first 2 weeks. But, I'm just kind of – there are guys that I think would be better plays. Surprisingly, I actually think – even though I was just all aboard the fade Cooper train, I think Njoku would be a better play. Jacoby was targeting him all throughout the final game of the preseason, and again with rain, you kind of want to throw it a little bit short over the middle. It would be easier. Who's going to be over the middle? Probably a tight end. So those are guys that I'm thinking. Maybe even Austin Hooper would be a guy that a lot of people aren't looking at. But
it's all tight ends.
Tennessee's just confused on what they want to do on offense. So, but one guy you may want to replace those guys with is Mo Alley Cox out of Indianapolis. I've seen a lot of buzz around him. I think that could work. So, yeah, TJ, a guy that probably a lot of people are going to be starting anyway, just because 8, 10, 12 team leagues. It's just how it works. So, be a little bit cautious on that.
Yep, I think I agree with that. Hawkinson's a little interesting, but I mean, I'll probably get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, tight ends are just hard to
we never know how to project it. So I'm ready for picks, dude.
Let's do it, baby. Well, yeah. So whether you were watching up to this point or not, we put chapters in our video anyway. So if you've just skipped to this part, hey, it's cool. It's our favorite segment too. That's why we save best for last. Picks. We start. Obviously, I started off 0-1. Fans, Jamicki, and Srikar are all 1-0. Shriek, lay it on us. Let's do it.
All right. First game we're going to start with. Would you like to go first? Because this first game is Saints-Falcons.
Yeah. I'll take this.
So okay.
Okay. Okay. So the New Orleans Saints, I believe, are going to travel to Atlanta, right? And they play?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well. This one, what am I going to go with? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Saints on this one. I just think, look, Atlanta surprisingly looked decent in their last preseason game against the Jets, but I think the Saints are just going to outmatch them. They're better on both sides of the ball, just have more playmakers. Mike Thomas finally going to play. I expect big things from him and Kamara. So, yeah, all in.
Hey, I will say this is an underrated rivalry. Falcons-Saints, I mean, it's pretty good. I think this is a rivalry the Saints will enjoy in particular this season, but New Orleans is pretty underrated, and the Falcons might have the worst roster in the league. I've actually been asking people in Syracuse how many players they can name in Atlanta. It's never more than 10 or 12. So
what?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I'm talking over there and
hey, I'm taking the Saints though, and this is an easy one to start. Next one though, Anish kind of alluded to it that it's going to be closer than you might think. It is the San Francisco 49ers, my team, against the Chicago Bears. Trey Lance against Justin Fields.
Who are you going with? Because, yeah, go lay it on us.
Hey, man, we finally get the Trey Lance era in San Francisco. I'll say this because, I mean, before this episode, like a week before this episode started, the original plan was to have some last-minute season predictions. So if you want to hear my final thoughts for Trey Lance, I think he's going to show some promise, but altogether, I think it'll be a pretty uneven season. So I'm not, compared to other Niner fans, I'm not ridiculously high on this guy.
He's been humbled by me. I've been calming him down
a little bit. Dating back to mid 2021, maybe. But we finally get the Trey Lance era, and it begins against his classmate in Justin Fields. The Niners are a Super Bowl contender if Lance plays well. Chicago's trying to begin a rebuild. Fairly easy for me. I'm taking the Niners. Another easy one.
No Bears upset that you were telling all of us throughout the months of June and July. No, like Bears gonna win. Yeah, Mister. Like
no.
he like told us.
Yeah,
this,
no.
Like, he told us this like all off season. He was like, yeah, we're gonna lose to the Bears.
I was messing around, but yeah, Niners.
Man, I actually did think you were gonna somehow shock. Look, I do think this is gonna be a lot closer than people think, and I do think Justin Fields is the better quarterback. But this is a game that just the Niners can't lose. Like you can't go into this game and lose this, because if you do, like panics, there's just going to be unnecessary media attention. So yeah, this is just a game you can't lose. So I'm going to pick SF as well, but better not lose it.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but so for the best. Usually in these like rainy games, they usually win. So that's another thing that I'm going with. But next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals. I will let Anish start on this one.
I believe it's at Cincy as well. It is. So, reigning AFC champs, how do you respond? Look, if anyone watched my last video, my final picks, I had them missing the play. I actually had them missing the playoffs. I think this is a team that could get hit with that Super Bowl hangover, but this is one of those weeks where, again, the Steelers, I think, are outmatched. I think Cincinnati is just better on both sides of the ball, which is really weird to say because you wouldn't have said that a year ago. But I think really good for them. I also think they're better in the offensive coaching department. It's going to be a masterclass from the offense. All in on them. All the triple stack. Burrow, Chase, T, even Joe. So sorry, Joe Mixon, by the way. Yeah, I'm picking Cincy.
Yeah, the Bengals have been talked about in the media as well as a team that will really regress. You're not going to hear that from me. I disagree with that completely. Cincinnati is loaded. And while Pittsburgh's defense is, a really good test for them, Pittsburgh's offense is still questionable. I like the weapons, not sold on the quarterback, and we don't have to talk about the offensive line. I am taking the Bengals here. Another pretty easy one. I think everything is too.
Week one seems easy. Like, remember, my lock of the week
last year.
My lock of the week last year was Mini versus Cincy. So, and I took Mini. So, hey, things can happen, man. Things can happen.
All right, next up. This is where things might get a little interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. I'm starting. Yep. You know what? Okay, I'm going with the upset here. The Lions.
Ooh. Okay.
The Lions aren't as good as Philadelphia, but Detroit has some real talent for the first time in years. The Eagles are on the road. Apparently, it's a sold-out game, so Detroit's going to show up for this. And we're still, hoping to see Jalen Hurts take the step from good to star, and, he might, but it's only week one. So I don't think it's all going to come together just yet. So yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit. Not very confident, but I think it's an upset pick that I do want to pencil in here just so I don't go all chalk.
I guess this helps your little Cowboys winning the division take. But, I'm going with Philly. I am all in on them. I've been saying this. I think Nick Sirianni is probably one of my favorite coaches in the league. Both sides of the ball, they're better. Last year, they dropped 44 on them in Detroit. So, I think the same thing kind of happens this year. Jalen Hurts, I think, is the real deal. I think he's going to take a step forward this year. Even though Jeff Okudah looked really solid in the preseason, it's a different breed when you're going up against A.J. Brown. It's going to be a little bit harder to kind of focus in on that. I'm going with Philly.
All right, next up, another divisional matchup in the AFC East. It's the Dolphins and the Patriots in Miami. And I think you are starting for this one.
Yeah. Again, another team I'm very high on, Miami Dolphins. I love Mike McDaniel. I love the offense that they're going to be running. The Pats have too many questions for me. Again, who the hell is calling plays? Is Devontae going to be your X receiver? Is it going to be Jacoby Myers? There's just too many things. And obviously on defense, they lost a lot of playmakers, namely J.C. Jackson, Kyle Van Noy. Just too many questions for me. I think Miami's got it a little bit more figured out. I'm going with the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins have always given the Patriots a tough time. They swept them last year. Now it feels like again, Miami is on the rise. New England.
Split.
Huh?
They split.
Oh, they split? Oh, I thought they swept them.
No,
but I mean, in Miami, the Pats, they don't. We saw Week 18 last year, but Miami's on the rise. New England, my thoughts on them. I think they're going to be a double-digit loss team. I think I had them like 6-11 or 7-10 in my final predictions. The Dolphins have a lot to prove, but they should get off to a good start. I'm taking Miami here. Next up, oh my God, Ravens Jets.
Flacco revenge game.
No, don't give me this. This is the lock of the week. All right, the Ravens.
Don't do that. Don't jinx us, bro.
The Ravens. How in the world are the Jets gonna win this game?
I don't know, dude. It's football, bro. Like it locks, dude. Every time we say something like this,
look, the Ravens.
I guess it'll help Jack. Because Jack's trying everything he can to become a Chargers fan. Please,
it's not working.
Can we just boycott this idea? Like, what the hell is he? We're not letting him escape the misery of being a Jets fan. He signed up for this. He has to deal with it. I've been dealing with it all my life, so I'm not letting this dude get a pass.
Anyways, the Ravens, we are, excellent team. They were crushed by injuries last year. They're healthy. They're taking on a Jets team with a backup quarterback, a shaky defense, an offense that's pretty much waiting for Zach Wilson to come back. I'm taking Baltimore. I just don't see a way New York wins this game.
Yeah, if the Jets win, I will literally start the next episode off by doing 15 jumping jacks. So, I'll hold myself to that. So, that's kind of how confident I am. This is just
all right. You heard it.
Outclassed. Yeah. Shreek, you want to join in with me on that, or is it just?
No. You don't want to see me standing up and doing jumping jacks.
All right, I'll do the jumping jacks.
Anyways, I don't have enough space back here.
If the Jets were to somehow win, I will do the 15 jumping jacks. I don't think it's gonna happen. Flacco has been 0-7 in his last 7 games, 0-10 in his last 10 starts. Ravens all the way.
And Ravens typically just beat up on bad teams. In week 1-2, they always go off. It's easy money here. This next game is the exact opposite of this last game. It's the Jaguars and the Commanders. Low key, a very, very interesting game that I really want to tune into. Jacksonville. Now you got a real coach. I talked about Trevor Lawrence before in the fantasy segment. Washington is hoping Carson Wentz is an upgrade. Both teams could be low-key playoff contenders. Both could finish 6-11. I think the Commanders are more likely to finish that way. This is the most even matchup of the week. Basically a pick'em. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Have fun, Goop.
Oh, why? Why? Why does it have to be? Okay. Yeah. So as people know, Trevor Lawrence has kind of become my new Carson Wentz because obviously time's ticking on the dude, man. It's just I think I might just have to chalk it up as a miss. Even though he's had 4 of his 6 years in the league, he's had winning seasons. But you know what? I might just have to chalk it up as a miss. My God, I really don't know. This is one of those games where it's just you're right. It's a flip 'em because.
You want to flip a coin?
No. Oh my God! It's at Washington, right?
It's in Washington. Yep.
Man, I'm torn. Commanders. Okay.
All right.
No. I don't know. This is so hard. I can't pick. The team. I love both of these teams. But the Commanders have had a worse camp. Okay.
This is so funny.
This is so hard for me to pick. I really don't know. I'm torn. Okay. Jaguars, final answer. Yeah, just fucking in. Whatever.
Jaguars? All right, so we're both on the same page there. I'm going to give you one last chance. You don't want to go Washington?
No.
No? Sticking with Jacksonville. Okay, so he's sticking with... He's going with Trevor over Carson. So he likes Trevor. I'm playing.
I don't know. Yeah, just go with it so I don't have to rue with it.
All right, for sure. All right, so we got 2 more games in the early slate. The first, very near and dear to Anish's heart.
Are we saving? No, let's save that one for last. Yeah?
Okay.
No, all right, go.
You want to do it last for the early slate? We can do that.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to wait.
Okay, we'll get into it right now. The Cleveland Browns against the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield revenge game. I think you are going to start for this one. In any ways, it works out perfect because you're a Browns fan and a Baker fan.
This
coming right after Jaguars Commanders is totally scripted. I'm sorry, guys. It's totally scripted.
This is such an emotional week, bro. Like this is so unfair, especially for me because I'm one of those Browns fans that defended Baker throughout everything. Oh my God, it's so hard to even fathom that we're gonna have to play against him. Like literally his first week outside of the organization is against us. Like it really sucks. I don't think people realize how much. As a Browns fan, let me just give you guys a perspective of this because not a lot of people have to deal with this kind of heinous pain that I have to deal with every single day. I thought I had my guy. For the first time ever, I was able to talk with other people about a quarterback. I didn't have to talk about a dude who was gonna be flipped or or a 1 year dude or someone who's just trash. I finally thought I had a guy that could stack up with the best of them, right? He gave me hope every single week, and it sucks. We did him so dirty, and guess what? I'm picking the Panthers to win on Sunday. I'm picking the Carolina Panthers. You guys know how much I love CMC. CMC is kind of the guy I've just been talking about all off season. I love CMC a lot, even though he went to Stanford. Go Cal Bears all day, every day. But yeah, I'm going with the Panthers. I think we got a really good defense, really young, really underrated. I don't want it to be a blowout, but you know what? For Baker's sake, man, hope he takes this win. I mean, it's not really looking good for us anyway for the season, but hey, it's going to come down to, if the Browns really want to win this game, it's going to come down to running the ball, establishing it early. I think Kareem Hunt's going to also have to get involved too. And Jacoby Brissett, can you throw outside the numbers? That's really also what it comes down to. Can you win those outside battles? I don't think he will be able to. I think CJ Henderson has himself a game. JC Horn also comes back. I got Carolina in this one.
The Baker Mayfield revenge game. Well put by Anish. This might not be a great Carolina team, in my opinion, but I think this is just the ultimate bad spot for Cleveland as they find themselves in every single week one. Mayfield is going to be furious, obviously. Browns are starting Jacoby Brissett. It is a road game. The Panthers are finally healthy for once, taking Carolina as well. But obviously an emotional game for Anish over here. And the final game on the early slate, it is the Colts at the Houston Texans. The Texans, I'll just say, they're essentially waiting for next year. The Colts, they are beginning to reboot with Matt Ryan under center. And Indianapolis isn't, they're not an explosive offense. They're not anything crazy, but they should score a lot against this Houston defense. I'm taking the Colts. And also no Shaq Leonard for this game, which could make things interesting, but I'm going to keep the same pick.
I think everyone's more excited about how Dameon Pierce is going to look. A lot of fantasy guys are into that. I'm going to go with the Colts as well. Frank Reich does it time and time again, finds different ways to win. Obviously not the flashiest coach or the flashiest team. Colts will find a way to get this into a W, so rolling with the Colts.
Alrighty, and now we go to the 1 p.m. games, or the 4 p.m. games for me. Let's start off with the Giants and Titans. They're both in kind of weird spots. New York, they're basically just transitioning out of a horrible run under Dave Gettleman. And Tennessee is trying to contend with, a decent defense, no passing game. And still the Titans are a much better team, so I'm going to take Tennessee here.
I will as well. It's at Tennessee. Surely this will be a better debut than last year against Arizona. I'm going to roll with Tennessee. I think they're better on both sides of the ball. Even though, there's some questions at receiver. I think this is a game Derrick Henry establishes himself again. He had a little bit of a shaky ending to the season, obviously against Cincinnati, coming off that foot injury. I think he'll be good to go.
All right, probably the game that I'm looking forward to the most on Sunday. It is the Packers and the Vikings NFC North matchup. I'm going to let you go first for this, but Very
Better
interesting
not change
game.
your pick. All right.
I'm not. Very interesting.
If you watch my last video, you guys know I'm all in on Minnesota, but I also think Green Bay will still kind of get in that 1 or 2 seed range and win the division. Hey, it all starts this week, and I don't know why we've seen a lot of Green Bay divisional matchups to start the year off for them, namely the Bears in 2018, the Vikes in 2020. They're kind of running it back again in 2022, and this is going to be a really interesting matchup, right? Rodgers literally came out and said it to the public media. Hey, his receivers need to be better. I think Allen Lazard is also questionable for this game. I don't know if he's even playing. He's doubtful. So, hey, this is going to be, is it the Romeo Dobbs show?
And Bakhtiari might not be there either.
Yeah, Randall Cobb, like what's going on there? Obviously, everyone's going to be like, well, Aaron Rodgers will find a way to make it work. This is going to be a game that's going to be relied on by Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. A lot of people think A.J. Dillon could replace him in the backfield later on. Let's see. I also think the Packers defense is really, really good. So, let's see what happens there. That being said, I'm going with the Vikings at home. I love Kevin O'Connell, man. I think rookie head coach. I think he shocks a lot of people week 1. Again, everyone's all in on the Vikings offense. I'm no exception. I love what they're doing. Secondary is a little bit shaky, but hey, it helps to go up against these Packers inconsistent wide receivers, so I think they'll be fine there. I love their front 7. I think Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith, obviously revenge game. We heard Zadarius Smith come out and say how bad the Packers treated him with that injury. So yeah, go with Minnesota.
I was literally going to go with Minnesota as well.
Everyone's going with Minnesota, fool. I thought you were going to go to Green Bay.
No, I mean, it seems like a good time to just point out Aaron Rodgers is still great, and the Packers have an elite defense. Minnesota's good. I think they're going to be much better under Kevin O'Connell. Green Bay is the more complete team, but I'm going to go with the Vikings. New coach. They're at home playing in front of Minnesota, the Minnesota faithful over there. And the Packers, you alluded to it earlier, the Packers are still looking for someone to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers, and I do think Rodgers will figure it out. I'm not one of those people who would be like, oh, Devontae Adams was the end-all be-all for this team. I don't think so. But I don't think that's all going to get figured out in week 1. Bakhtiari and Jenkins are both questionable. Obviously, Lazard is doubtful. Maybe you're in line for a big game from Romeo Dobbs. Who knows? But
you want to know Kirk's record against Aaron Rodgers?
Let's hear it.
3-3-1.
That's the most Kirk Cousins stat I've ever heard.
Hey, that's better than what you might think. So, I mean,
but I'm also going to pencil in. I'm also going to pencil in Minnesota here.
All right.
Moving on, a high-powered game. It's the Chiefs and the Cardinals. Look, the Cardinals have been, this offseason's just been drama on top of more drama. And meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes, he has heard nothing but just weird criticism from his former teammates, from the media. I just don't think it's a good combination for Arizona. I think Mahomes with a chip on his shoulder is always just deadly in the NFL. So I'm taking the Chiefs here.
Yeah, same. I think, the only drama you quote unquote heard from the Chiefs was when we all woke up, when I woke up late at 11 a.m.
I was talking about the Cardinals.
Huh?
For the drama, I was talking about the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying the Chiefs-wise, nothing literally except that one day where Tyreek Hill wanted an extension, didn't get it, and the Chiefs said, all right, bye, within like 4 hours. So, nothing else from them. As you said, the Cardinals been one of the noisiest teams in the offseason, along with my Browns. So, too much noise. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. Whoever they're starting at their X, doesn't matter. Going with Chiefs.
All right, and we have just not differed at all. All right, here we go. Another interesting game. 2 high-powered attacks going at it in Los Angeles. It is the Raiders and the Chargers in a rematch of Week 18 last year, which was obviously an amazing game. The Chargers are the better squad, but if their pass rush doesn't get home, Derek Carr could go off. Like, he could have a ridiculous day. But the problem for Las Vegas is I think the pass rush probably does get home considering their O-line. So I am going to be taking the Chargers in this game, but I do think it'll be, a good offensive game.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Okay.
I am going with the Raiders. JC is a little bit uncertain. I was going with them anyway. This is going to be 70% Raiders fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
LA was always a Raider town anyway. And I don't know. The Raiders just always seem to play up to LA. Even though they started off 3-0 last year and LA shut them down week 4, Something about it this year. I think this is one that LV just says, you know what, we're gonna take this game right under you guys. And I think a lot of people are just really high on the Chargers. I still am. One loss doesn't ruin it for me. But yeah, I think the Raiders go in and upset them. They always kind of find a way to win week 1, and I'm going with the Raiders here.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, I think what guided me to the Chargers in this game was my main weakness, my main problems with the Raiders, if at all, like anything. I mean, it's secondary and O-line, and I think the Chargers can exploit both. So, leaning with the Chargers here. Sunday Night Football time. It is the Bucs and the Cowboys. I think that is a great game for the first Sunday Night Football matchup of the year. Dallas, trying to erase last year's ugly playoff loss from memory. The Bucs are in a war with Father Time. Goop, who do you got?
Well, it's gonna be a little bit closer now, right? Because the Bucs O-line is very shaky. Yep. Tom Brady's going through some things with his wife. He's been taking a lot of personal leave for the last couple months. Gonna be interesting to see what goes down. Dak also tweaked his ankle this week in practice. He said he'll be a full go though, so not too much to worry about in that regard. Gallup's going to be out, so this is really just the CD and Dalton Schultz train going through. That being said, it's hard to bet against the GOAT on the road at home. Still going to go with the Bucs here. This is one of those games, though, I think that Dallas can easily sweep under the rug. Remember, it came same kickoff matchup last year, and it came down to the final drive. A little questionable OPI, no OPI call on Chris Godwin last year. There's going to be, I think he's questionable to play. I don't think they should play him this week. But yeah, I'm going with Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa Bay has endured a good amount of injuries already, but I think the question is, can the Cowboys take advantage? I'm going to say no. So I'm also going to take Tampa. And finally, Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson returns to Seattle. I'm going to be honest, this feels like a game with a ton of buildup that's going to be over by halftime. Denver, good team, great quarterback in Russell Wilson. The Seahawks, obviously they're going to be motivated, but you also have Geno Smith under center, which is not good. So I'm taking Denver. Fairly easy for me. This game is going to be all hype and no actual thrill behind it.
I think it's going to be a little bit closer, actually. I don't know why. I've been saying Seattle's going to overachieve this year. Even with Geno Smith, yeah, okay, obviously, that's not a guy you really want under center. But I don't know, something about it. I just feel like Seattle's going to play it tough. I think Denver will pull away in the fourth quarter behind the backs of Russell Wilson, again, who was just unfairly treated a lot of the time in Seattle. There's an article that came out about, just his time with John Snyder and the clash, the power struggle with Paul Allen kind of falling sick and then passing away, obviously, a few years ago. He's had his chip on the shoulder against the Seahawks for quite some time now, for the last 4 years, honestly, when they offered him for the first overall pick, which sucks we didn't take. But, I'm going with Denver on this one.
All right, and that's the slate. So we differed on Raiders, Chargers. We differed on
Lions.
Eagles, Lions. All right, two games.
Yeah, maybe on Saturday night I'll have an epiphany or something and be like, you know what, Commanders. But other than that, I think we're on the same page on a lot of them.
Yep, for sure. Here we go. Week 1 of picks. There it is.
Well, that's week 1. Again, fans, you can vote for it on our Insta story. We'll probably put it out tomorrow on Saturday. So feel free to vote during then. But other than that, we're back better than ever every Friday. We're going to be recording and putting these out every Saturday morning. So tune in on the weekends. Shouldn't have anything going on a Saturday morning. So tune in, watch us. And thank you guys so much for watching. We've been the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast. We will see you guys next time.